Okay, I want you to take a second right now, wherever you are, and just think about your dreams.
Mm,
And I don't mean the highlight reel, not the ones where you win the lottery or, you're flying over the Grand Canyon.
right.
I'm talking about the other ones.
The heavy ones.
Exactly. The ones that stick to you like tar. You know that feeling, right?
Hmm.
You wake up, you're physically out of bed, drinking your coffee, but you feel just drained,
Confused.
confused, maybe even a little bit violated. And we usually just brush these off. You say, oh, I had spicy food, or that was just, random neurons firing.
Right. Bad pizza dream.
Exactly. But the stack of notes we're diving into today asks a really uncomfortable and very specific question. What if they aren't random?
And that question, it just changes the whole game. The source material we have today, it proposes this radically different framework for how we even view sleep. It suggests that those heavy, intrusive dreams might actually be a form of, well, energetic interference.
It's a wild concept. But what makes this deep dive so interesting is that the source isn't just a book of spooky stories. It's basically a manual,
It really is. It reads like a technical guide.
a technical guide to reclaiming the dream space. We're looking at a text that details these spiritual and emotional implants, which, that creates a very sci-fi horror image in my head.
It does. And maybe most importantly for you listening, it doesn't just diagnose the problem, it actually provides a protocol.
A protocol.
A specific step-by-step set of rules for establishing what the text calls sovereignty in sleep.
Sovereignty in sleep. I love that phrase. It sounds so regal, like you're the king or queen of your own subconscious.
Well, the idea is that you should be.
But look, I have to set the stage. The material we are diving into is definitely on the esoteric side. We're going to be talking about things like sigils, karma, energy fields.
True. It is high strangeness territory. But what I find fascinating here, and why I think this is valuable even for a skeptic, is that if you strip away the metaphysical language, the underlying psychology is incredibly potent.
How so?
It's about boundaries. It's about how we protect our internal space when our conscious defenses are completely down.
That's the hook for me. Whether you're a hardened materialist or someone who already sleeps with crystals under their pillow, there's something really gripping here. Because who hasn't had a dream that made them feel vulnerable?
Exactly. Who hasn't woken up feeling like they lost a fight they didn't even know they were in?
And the source argues that you were in a fight. You
Yes, didn't have your armor on.
So let's unpack this. The source starts with this really unsettling concept of implantation.
Yeah.
It frames the human energy field almost like a computer system or a house. And it gets really specific about when the break-in happens. It's not just random bad luck.
No, not at all. And this is where the manual aspect really kicks in. According to the text, the seeding of emotional or spiritual implants relies on vulnerability. The source is very clear. These intrusions happen when the system is shocked.
When it's open or overloaded.
Exactly.
The list of triggers the text gives is actually pretty intense. I was reading it and it hit me. These are such different experiences, but they share a physiological similarity. It lists panic attacks, sexual acts, and sudden betrayal.
It is a heavy list, but look at the common thread there.
High intensity.
High intensity, yes, but specifically a suspension of the ego's guard. When you're in a panic attack, your rational defenses are just offline.
You're just pure survival instinct.
Right. During a sexual act, you are, biologically and energetically open to another person. Boundaries are blurred by design. And sudden betrayal, that's a massive shock to the system.
That's the one that really stood out to me, betrayal. Because we usually think of that as just an emotional event.
But the text treats it like a physical wound. Think about what happens when you find out you've been betrayed. Your whole reality crumbles.
Right. You're in a state of cognitive dissonance. I thought the world was X, but it's actually Y.
And the source explicitly states that the trauma moment becomes an anchor for external energy to enter.
That word anchor feels really important here. It implies that trauma isn't just a bad memory that fades. It's a hook.
It's a hook. It's something physical or energetic that literally holds the door open. If we connect this to how we understand trauma, even conventionally, trauma freezes a moment in time. The body keeps the score. The source is just taking that idea and applying it to the energetic body. It suggests that this frozen moment, that anchor, allows a foreign narrative or an external energy to attach itself.
It's like a climbing hook left on a wall. Now something else can just climb right up.
That's a perfect analogy. And the section on implantation through fear or sex, it suggests these heightened states are the primary delivery systems.
It's almost like when you're in that state of extreme fear or extreme openness, the barriers are just gone.
It's about susceptibility, the difference between a locked door and a door that's been blown off its hinges. In that moment of shattering, something else can slip in.
Like a virus finding a weakness in the firewall. The code gets rewritten while the system is rebooting.
Exactly. And once that code is written in, once that implant is there, it starts to play out in the dream state.
That's where you see the symptoms.
Hmm.
Which brings us to the actual experience of the dream, because the text describes some very specific, very creepy symptoms. This isn't just, I showed up to work naked.
No, this is much more targeted. These are distortions that seem designed to disempower.
One of the things that really gave me chills was the note about role reversal. The source says, in dreams, you may see yourself as the attacker or the problem.
And this is a classic inversion tactic, according to the text. I mean, think about the psychological impact of that.
You wake up feeling guilty.
You wake up questioning your own nature. Why did I do that in my dream? Am I a bad person?
Right. You wake up feeling shame, and shame is such a heavy, paralyzing emotion. So instead of realizing you might be under attack, you turn on yourself. You become your own prosecutor.
Exactly. It confuses the dreamer. It generates that self-doubt. If the goal of an intrusion is to lower your vibration, making you believe you're the villain is a very effective strategy.
It's psychological warfare in the REM cycle.
It's sophisticated. It really targets your self-perception.
The text also lists false awakenings. Ugh, I hate these. I've had them.
They're terrible.
It's where you dream that you've woken up, you start your day, and then boom, the room melts and you realize you're still asleep.
It traps you in a loop. It creates this sense of helplessness, like you can't escape the narrative. It just blurs the line between dream reality and waking reality.
But why is that a symptom of intrusion? Why isn't it just a weird brain glitch?
Well, the text suggests it's about eroding that sense of sovereignty. If you can't even tell if you're awake or asleep, you're not in control.
You're disoriented.
You're disoriented. And a disoriented target is, well, easier to manipulate.
And then there are the observers.
Yes. This one is particularly unsettling. The text specifically asks, do you notice observers in your dreams?
That feeling of being watched, not necessarily chased, but just observed.
That you're an experiment in a glass jar.
Exactly. It implies a lack of privacy even in your own subconscious. It creates this low-level anxiety that just permeates the whole sleep state. And then there's this concept of word magic. The text prompts the reader to write down any word magic phrases. Do they echo waking life? What does that even mean, word magic?
This is where the source really bridges the gap between the dream and the day. The implication is there's a continuous narrative running between your waking state and your dream state.
Okay.
Word magic suggests that certain phrases, maybe things said to you by an abuser or negative self-talk you repeat, are being echoed in the dream to reinforce the programming.
So if someone constantly told you you're worthless and you hear a voice say that in a dream, that's the echo.
That's the echo. That's the anchor working. It's a feedback loop. The waking life trauma feeds the dream, and the dream reinforces the waking life fear. The text is telling us to pay attention to the script.
What are the lines being read?
Right, because if you can identify the script, you can start to rewrite it. It's not just random noise.
Which is the perfect segue, because we don't just want to talk about the scary stuff. This is, a toolkit. It's about how to shut that door.
Exactly. It moves from diagnosis to prescription, and it's very structured. A before sleep protocol and an after waking protocol.
So let's look at before sleep.
Yeah.
The text is very directive here. It doesn't just say, try to relax. It gives you a declaration.
Words matter here. Intentionality matters. The text argues that you need to set the rules of engagement before you lose consciousness.
Right.
You wouldn't enter a negotiation without a plan, so why enter the dream world without one?
I'm going to read the affirmation from the text because it's really powerful. It says, I call back all my energy from every plane. I close all access points to my soul. I am sovereign in my sleep.
I am sovereign in my sleep. I mean, that is a claiming of territory.
It is. It's putting a flag in the ground.
And notice the first part. I call back all my energy. Think about it. We spend our days scattering our energy everywhere. In meetings, on social media, worrying about the news.
We're fragmented.
We are. So this is a ritual of collection. It's bringing all the pieces of yourself back home before you go unconscious.
Creating a sealed vessel.
You're sealing the vessel. pulling up the drawbridge.
The text also suggests using physical anchors. Now, this is where we get into the tools aspect. It lists obsidian and black tourmaline.
Right. For those not familiar, in many traditions, those are seen as protective stones. They're associated with grounding and absorbing negative energy.
An energetic shield.
Sort of, yeah. It also mentions salt and water bowls.
Which is ancient technology.
It is. Salt is used for purification and creating barriers in almost every culture. Water absorbs. The logic is you're creating a physical perimeter around your sleep space.
It's like setting up a security system, but with salt.
And even if you view it purely psychologically, which is a valid lens, placing these items is a ritual act. You are physically doing something to signal to your brain, I am safe now, defenses are up.
Okay, that makes sense.
It helps downregulate the nervous system.
The text also mentions written prayer requests, or sigils. Now, a sigil is like a symbol for a specific magical intent, right?
Yes, a condensed representation of an intention. If you draw a symbol that means safety and put it by your bed, it's a visual anchor.
And there's one more pre-sleep instruction I thought was really unique. It says to ask your higher self to retain dream memories that hold keys and clues.
And this changes the purpose of sleep entirely. It's not just about recharging. It becomes a reconnaissance mission.
You're asking for intel. You're asking for intel. You're saying, let me remember the parts that are useful. Let me see the keys. It turns the dreamer from a victim into a detective.
I like that.
You are engaging with the dream state proactively, not just letting it happen to you.
Okay, so you've done the prep. You've got your salt bowl, you've said your affirmation, now the alarm goes off. There's a whole after-waking protocol, too.
And this is just as critical, because that transition back to waking life is where we lose the insight. We wake up, grab the phone,
and the dream just dissolves.
It's gone. So the first rule is simple. Write it down. The text says, write down even fragments.
Even if it makes no sense. A color, a feeling.
Just catch it before it fades. But then it gets into this very specific instruction about dreams with an abuser. And this feels crucial. It says, if you dream of the abuser, write how you felt before and after.
Oh, wow. Why the distinction? Why does the feeling matter more than the plot? Because the plot, the what, is the narrative. That's the story the implant might be trying to sell you. But the feeling is the energetic reality. Did you feel small before the interaction? Did you feel drained after?
So you start to see the mechanism of the attack.
Exactly. You realize, oh, every time I have this dream, it starts with me feeling confident and it ends with me feeling worthless.
You see the pattern. It stops being a scary story and starts being a predictable machine.
Correct. You analyze the effect, not get lost in the drama.
And to help break it, there's another affirmation for the morning. This one feels like a sword.
It's a releasal, cutting the cords.
It goes, whatever was not mine, I dismantle it. I challenge any and all narratives by living my life with awareness and compassion. No cords, no karma. I will always return to self and my true purpose.
That is a fascinating combination of ideas. Whatever was not mine, I dismantle it. That acknowledges that not everything in your head actually belongs to you.
That's a relief, honestly. I think some of that anxiety is just intrusive spam.
It is. It gives you permission to say, this fear, not mine, return to sender.
No cords, no karma.
That's the severance. But notice the middle part. That's what I think is the most sophisticated piece. I challenge any and all narratives by living my life with awareness and compassion.
That part was surprising. It shifts from fighting to living.
Right. Because you can say all the magic words you want, but if you walk out into your day and fall right back into the same patterns of unawareness,
the door just opens right back up.
The door opens again. So the protection isn't just the obsidian by the bed. The real protection is the awareness you carry through the day.
It's a holistic system.
It's a 24-hour cycle. You protect the sleep to protect the day, and you live the day well to protect the sleep.
I want to look at the reflection prompts the source gives because these are great takeaways.
Yeah, let's run through them.
Number 1, which dreams repeat most for you and what emotions linger when you wake up?
That's your baseline data. You have to know what you're dealing with. Repetition is a signal.
Number 2, do you notice false awakenings or observers in your dreams?
So that's checking for those specific signs of interference rather than just random dream noise.
Number 3, write down any word magic phrases. Do they echo waking life?
That requires deep listening. You have to catch the phrases that are keeping you small.
And number 4, what's your bedtime practice for energetic protection or dream recall?
And if the answer is, I doom scroll until I pass out with the phone on my face, well,
You might be leaving the back door wide open.
you might want to consider the salt bowl, or at least the affirmation, I call back my energy. Even just that one breath changes the dynamic.
And the final prompt, which I think is the biggest one. How can you transform nightly fear into a ritual of self-reclamation?
That sums up the entire mission of this text. It's taking the thing you fear, the vulnerability of sleep, the nightmares, and using it as the very place you reclaim your power.
It flips the whole thing. It turns the battlefield into a training ground.
It's empowering. It says, this territory is mine.
You know, we started this by saying how esoteric it all sounds, implants, sigils. But when you break it down like this, it feels practical. It feels like a hygiene practice.
Just like you brush your teeth, you perform these rituals to protect your psyche from energetic decay. It's maintenance.
So what's the one thing the listener should take away from this?
I think it's realizing that sleep is an active state. We think of it as the off switch. This source argues that sleep is another room you walk into. And you can walk into that room unprepared, or you can walk in like a sovereign with your boundaries set.
You wouldn't leave your front door wide open overnight. Why leave the door to your mind open?
Precisely. And the tools, the stones, the words, the journaling, they're just the locks and keys. You're the one who has to turn them.
It really makes you rethink that groggy feeling in the morning. Maybe it's not just lack of coffee.
It's worth considering. If you wake up tired after 8 hours, you have to ask yourself, where did my energy go?
The source leaves us with that challenge. To dismantle what isn't ours.
And to always return to self. That's the core. I will always return to self. If you can hold on to that, you're winning.
Well, I think I'm going to be looking for some black tourmaline this afternoon.
Couldn't hurt.
And maybe a bowl of salt by the bed tonight. Just in case.
A little salt never hurt anyone.
Thank you for taking this journey with us into the dream space. It's been a fascinating look at how we can take back the night.
It has. Sleep well.
And sleep sovereign. We'll see you in the next deep dive.